Hey everybody, this is Rustin with Metalholic Magazine and of course The Examiner, and with us today, Mia Coldheart of Crucified Barbara, all the way from Sweden. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good grief.
Great.
What time is it over there?
Oh, it's what is it? I think it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow, 8 o'clock in the morning here. I gotta go to work.
Okay, good morning.
So,
Sorry to wake you up.
nah, not at all. It's always wonderful to get up for great rock and heavy metal, and the fact that, you're beautiful doesn't hurt, I'm not going to lie. So, now, not enough people in America yet know about Crucified Barbara. I mean, here I run a metal magazine, and I'm just sort of now hearing about you guys. So for all of those over in the States, if I could take you back and maybe get a little backstory in the band, because you guys have been together for a little over a decade now, right?
Yeah, I think I was the last one in the band, and I've been in the band for 12 years. I think it's been going for 14 years or something now. But we started out like teenagers, so like really young, and it's the learning to play together, basically. So, and we met through music. We didn't know each other before, so but we all are from Stockholm, and we released our first album in 2005. So it took some years.
Right.
We met 98, though, and yeah.
Nice.
So.
And now, what's the story on the band name Crucified Barbara?
It's from a long time ago, before I was in the band, so I'm not responsible for that. But it was from the Roskilde Festival in Denmark. Some of the girls were at the festival, and they saw a guy carrying a wooden cross with a blow-up doll. And all the blow-up dolls in Sweden are called Barbaras, is the name, like blow-up Barbara. So they thought it was some kind of symbolic meaning to that, and they wanted to name a song with their band they had at the time, but it ended up being the band name instead, and so, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So, well, tell us then a little bit about you. How did you end up, I mean, was there a sort of a moment of epiphany for you when you were growing up where you saw a show or heard a song and you're like, this is what I want to do with my life?
Yeah, I started out with music when I was like 10 because I got an accordion from my mom as a Christmas gift, and it was not really what I wanted to do, but I did it. And then I found my sister got a guitar, acoustic guitar, and this is my thing. So I took it and I started to play. And then the first band that really changed my life was Nirvana. And I started listening to them, and Hole was a really big influence as well. When I was like 13, 14, I learned to play their songs, and I started my first band. So I think that was the band that was the beginning of it all.
You know, in listening to your stuff, especially the new album, which we'll talk about in a minute, there really is sort of because it's definitely hard rock and metal, but there's sort of that punkish vibe to it a little bit, almost like, Motorhead brought in. Is that sort of part of your guys' influence? Is that the Nirvana thing, sort of the grungy punk sort of thing, or? Yeah,
I think so. I mean, we don't have any ways of writing or thoughts when we write music. We just do it, and we never been into this like clean, pure metal sound. We always want to add some dirt to it. That's the way we are, and that's what we play, So yeah, I think it's from the grunge, from our roots, and I'm really grateful for that because I like it. So yeah.
So now the new album, The Midnight Chase. First off, do we have a release date yet? Because I keep hearing it's TBA, to be announced.
Okay, yeah, I thought it should be in the end of July.
Okay, so it is coming up pretty shortly then.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So that's good. So coming up, hopefully at the end of July, then The Midnight Chase will be coming out. Tell us about the new album. How in your mind does it compare to the previous album? Are you guys going in a specific direction, or is this sort of just a continuation of what you were doing?
I think we always wanted to do a better album all the time, do your best, and I think this album, we're really proud of it. I think it's like the beginning of it feels like a beginning now because it's a really special experience to record it, first of all, because it was a lot of stress, but it was so much more fun than the previous ones, and we worked harder. I think we become better songwriters, made better songs, and it's better sound. We're really pleased with it, and I'm so proud of it. It's so fun to play the songs, and it feels great, better than ever. Really.
Why was it so fun to record this one?
I think it was because I think the songs were so great this time. We really enjoy playing them. I mean, we did with the old ones too, but with something different now. It feels more natural. I think we found our way to write songs, and working together, it was much easier. I think we learned something from every time we entered the studio. So, and our producer, Chips Keesby, was really nice to work with as well. So I think he has had a lot to do with the atmosphere in the studio and the work progress.
So now there's a lot of great songs on this album. I'm really digging the whole thing. My favorite sort of changes every time I listen to the album. Right now I'm really keen on
cool.
Shut Your Mouth. So, but you guys have already released Into the Fire as the first single. Now, every song on an album has a story behind it in one way or another, but some of the stories are more interesting or intriguing than the others. Are there a couple of songs on the album that really stand out to you because they've got like really good stories attached to them?
I think every song has one story or another, but I mean, it's hard to, I mean, because if we write about some things or someone, it's like not that we want to tell everybody exactly who that person is, you know. It's better to let it, first of all, it's maybe not that nice to just, explain who it is, and it's also, I want to listen to create their own meaning of the songs, you know.
Right.
If there's, I don't want to. It's like I say. It's like I hate Christmas songs because it's so obvious what they are about. You can't. It's impossible to create your own like vision of the song. So I like it to be a bit of a secret and let everybody find their own meaning, you know.
Right. So
but if you ask about if you're interested in some specific song, I'm sure I can tell you something.
Well, it's like, so a lot of your songs then are about, they were inspired by specific people then, is what you're saying.
Yeah, some are, but I can't say any names.
Well, while you were recording the album, did anything interesting or unusual happen while you were in the studio that you can share?
Oh, it was a quite nice recording experience. We worked like 24 hours, and we stayed in the studio for like 3 weeks, and we slept there as well. So
wow.
It was really intense, but we're used to this, you know. When we're on tour, we're always together, and we really enjoy each other's companies. So it was just nice. And when one was recording, the other had to like cook dinner, and we always like made really good food every day because it's really important. And the sound engineer, he was like setting the level when we entered the studio. He said like, okay, I have one rule: food first, recording second. So we did that. We like to cook, so it was a lot of good food anyway.
Yeah. So what's your favorite dish to eat then?
Oh, it's hard. So many, but we're 3 of us are vegetarians, so it's a lot of green food.
Gotcha.
So
wonderful. So now every time I see a photo of you or a performance of you, you've always got a flying V on. That's clearly your weapon of choice? Is there a reason you've sort of fallen in love with the flying V?
It was by accident, actually, because I didn't want the V from the beginning. I thought they were not balanced, and I didn't like it. But then I tried one in a shop. It was like 2004, I think, and it was like, oh, this is perfect. And it was that one. So since that day, I just borrowed it to try at home, and I never leave it back. So I kind of grew into it, and now actually I have a Les Paul too. I just bought it like some weeks ago, and it's really nice, but it's always I can't leave the V because it's a part of me, and people get really upset. They like if I play something else, they're like, Mia, where's your V? So I'm trying to like mix in the Les Paul like piece by piece so people get used to it.
There you go. You gotta inch it in a little bit so people can become accepting. So
exactly.
So when you're not doing music, and which I know takes up so much of your time. What are you into outside of music?
Personally, I like horses a lot, so I try to find some time to spend in the stable, and then I do like some training to keep in shape, jogging and stuff.
Right.
For rock and roll, and then we hang out a lot together with the band. We like going to bars and hang out, drink beer.
Nice. Well, that's always fun. So before we get out of here, then tell us something about Mia Coldheart that might surprise people.
What could that be? Well, that was a hard question.
Well, I can't throw you all fastballs.
Exactly. I don't know what's surprising with me. I think like people know I do a lot of things, but maybe it's maybe not a fun surprise, but I like to draw a lot. I used to be a painter, nice. So that's something I do as well. So.
Good. Well, maybe we'll actually get to see some of your artwork appear one of these days. Have you ever thought to do your album covers for the band?
I tried in the beginning when we, at the time when we were doing everything on ourselves, like demo covers and logos and that stuff. But it's too hard because you always read in too much in the other's opinions. Like, it's too hard to do it myself. So, and now I got away from it was a long time ago. Paint. I just started again like last year. So, but no album covers for me. I just do regular paintings for the wall.
Now, obviously, you guys are going to be doing a lot of the festivals and a lot of European shows because you guys are really got the buzz going over there. Any chance you're going to get over to the States anytime soon?
Yeah, I really hope so because it's been a dream for so many years, and I think we're talking about it right now. Actually, that it will happen. I hope in the late fall, like winter.
Nice.
Hopefully, there's nothing but it's like I hear some rumors and planning, so I hope for that.
Awesome. Mia, thanks so much for taking the time. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
The new album.
Yeah, you too.
Absolutely. The new album, Midnight Chase. Get out there and buy it as soon as it's released. Don't illegally download it. Support the band. Hey, everybody. This is Rustin back with you here on Metalholic Radio. Tonight, we got rocking us all the way from Sweden, Klara Force from Crucified Barbara. We talked with her partner in crime, Mia Coldheart, last week. This week, we got the other half of the dynamic Shred Mistress duo. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Absolutely wonderful. How are things over there this evening?
It's good. It's beautiful weather, and the summer is finally here. So
nice.
It's good.
So you guys are getting to play a lot of festivals, I'm assuming, because Europe has a ton of them.
We're this weekend we're off, but next weekend we start. So we're gonna play 2 really cool festivals here in Sweden, like metal festivals, and then all over Europe.
Nice, and of course we can't wait to get you over in the U.S. Mia was saying you guys are working on something with that. Have you guys heard any more word on that?
I don't know anything about it, but it's been a long time dream to be able to go to America and play. So we really hope it's going to happen soon.
Absolutely. Now you guys have been around. I mean, gosh, almost 14 years. But you guys, this will be your 3rd album that's coming out. We'll talk about the Midnight Chase in a minute. But it's really just in the last year or so that, at least over here in the States, we're starting to hear about you guys.
We've been around for a long time, but we didn't release the first album until 2005.
Right.
And we haven't had the opportunity to try and make it over in America until now. I'm really happy Nuclear Blast believe in us enough to give it a shot.
Well, I can tell you that we here at Metalholic absolutely love the new album and love what you guys are doing, so we are behind you 110% as well.
Thank you so much. It just makes me happy. It's fun. I'm glad you like the album.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into the Midnight Chase, talk about the new album, I'd like to learn a little bit about you. Was there a point when you were growing up that, I don't know if it was an album or a song or a concert you saw that was just sort of that moment of epiphany for you where you were like, this is what I want to do?
There are several big music moments in my life. Probably the first one was going through my parents' vinyl records, and I found my mother's LP, Led Zeppelin, the one with Stairway to Heaven, and it was very different from everything had heard so far. And I thought, well, this sounds really cool. And I was just a kid at the time. And I've had so many moments, but what made me play guitar was actually the mid-90s, listening to the whole Seattle grunge scene, bands like Nirvana, Alice in Chains, and like watching Nirvana and Unplugged in New York at MTV. That I actually learned how to play guitar watching the MTV Unplugged.
Which is kind of interesting because Mia said she grew up on a lot of that same stuff as well, but you guys have in your sound a lot of the classic 70s vibe to your playing and your style.
Yeah, well, we try. I mean, we've never been one of those bands like we're gonna sound exactly like that or that. We just pick our influences from pretty much everywhere, everything we like, and we just try and mix it up and do our own thing with it. It's not like we're trying to be just like some other band.
And you guys do encompass a lot of sounds. There's a little bit of a raw punk edge to it, sort of a la Motorhead, if you will. So you guys have a lot of stuff going on there. And I've read and heard that you guys don't really have a songwriting, a way that you guys write songs. It's just sort of haphazard. It's however it comes to you, whether it's bits and pieces here and there or jamming it out. Is that sort of the way you guys do it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We some songs we jam a lot, rehearsing of course all together, but we do it either way. I mean, I've been sitting plenty of evenings here in my kitchen with Nikki, the drummer, just with an acoustic guitar. She's banging on the kitchen table like trying to find a beat, and I'm just strumming the guitar, and that works too. As long as it turns out okay, I think you should just try to stay creative and write songs all the time. And it doesn't really matter exactly how it happens, just the important thing is that it happens.
Definitely. I mean, creativity doesn't decide to strike just when you sit down and start to write, so...
No, it's a hard work. You can't like sit around and wait for inspiration. You have to work hard even if you're not inspired, and you have to like work with it continuously, and even if it's not like very interesting every day and you don't feel like it, it's just you have to go there and play your guitar and try to come up with stuff, and eventually it will happen if you do it every day.
And we're going to talk about guitars in a minute too, but let's get to, you've got the Midnight Chase will be coming out here at the end of this month on the 31st of July here in North America. This is the band's third album. And a lot of people say it's the third album that really sort of defines a band's sound. Do you think that's true with you guys?
Definitely. I think when recording this album, it felt like sound-wise, song-wise, like we're finally home. Now we're mature enough to know exactly what we're doing, and we're really happy with the result, and it turned out the way we wanted, and it's sort of like we found the key on how to do it, and we did it, and so I guess you're right. It defines our band really well, I would say.
Well, they say, the first album is always sort of that you're just trying to get everything out there because you've got all these experiences, so sometimes it's a little more raw, not quite where you're ultimately going to go. The sophomore album is trying too hard to do what you did on the first album and make it even better. So by the third album, you finally started to grow together as a band and really come into your own. And that's the sense I got. I mean, Distortion We Trust, Until Death Do Us Party were great albums, but I think on the Midnight Chase, you guys have really brought it all together.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel the same way, and I think we were a little bit more daring for this album as well. We put a track like Count Me In on it, which is basically almost no drums. It's like a piano ballad, and it's really cool to feel secure enough to do something like that and not just stay within your genre, if you know what I mean, and to be brave enough to and mature enough to do choices like that.
So now every album has its stories, and every song has a story, and I know we don't have time to go through all of them, but are there some interesting stories from when you guys recorded this album or when you wrote some of the songs that you're willing to share?
Yeah, well, I guess there's like stories between behind every song, of course. And as we talked a little bit about before, it's kind of when you write songs, it's like you take pieces. It's not like every song is made from start to end. It's like a puzzle. You have ideas and then you put them together. So one verse in one song could be from a totally different idea, and then you put it all together. So it's kind of my mind is a little bit confused because in my head they're kind of all the same because I can't really separate the songs, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But for instance, the first track, the Crucifier, the main riff, we wrote that riff. I think it was me and Ida. We were just jamming at a sound check way up north in Sweden. We were playing outside and it was really freaking cold, and we had to play continuously, not to like freeze our hands off during sound check. So we were just jamming, and then I was like, yeah, this is a cool riff. We have to do something from this, and then we just wrote a song. It was really quick.
And what was it like in the recording studio for you guys? Anything unusual happen while you were recording the album?
It was a great experience. For me personally, I don't like recording. I feel the pressure, and I get a lot of anxiety. I don't like being in the studio. But we had a very nice experience working with the producer, Chips Kisby, and the sound guy. They were awesome, and we were working really hard, but the best part was all the great food we ate. We are all food lovers, and we cooked amazing food every day, and that was probably the best part for the recording.
That's funny. Mia said the same thing, but you guys still stay in great shape and everything, so kudos to you.
Yeah. But we're like, okay, there's 4 of us in the band, but we're pretty much the same person. It's like our brains are connected, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Now, you guys, and I wanted to ask you, I know every band will tell you they love every song on every album, which, they're all like your children, but are there 1 or 2 songs on this album that are really particularly special for you that you really like maybe a little bit more than the others?
Yeah, definitely. The first one is, as I spoke of before, Count Me In, the really soft song, which is the basic idea behind it was me and Nicky. We were jamming at my place, and we tried to make it like a rock song, really heavy, and it didn't sound too well. But I didn't want to leave the idea totally behind, so we tried to do something different out of it. And this was just before entering the studio. We went to the rehearsal place, and Mia brought her lap steel, and we were just jamming and tried to do something just quite different, and it turned out really well. I think it was, and I'm very happy. We recorded 14 songs, and only 11 is on the album. And I'm really happy Count Me In is one of them. And the inspiration for the lyrics in the beginning, they altered along the way, but in the beginning I read this book about left-wing terrorists in Germany called the Baader-Meinhof League, and it's a very interesting part of history, so I wanted to write something about that. And that was the main idea for the lyrics for Count Me In.
Well, and I understand that you're actually a big fan of literature.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I read constantly.
Do you have a particular genre that you fancy the most, or are you sort of all over the
I
place?
just love novels. I mean, I read everything from crime to like classics or whatever. But I mean, that's the USA is like the best country ever for literature. You have so many great novelists.
So do you have a favorite writer?
I have many, but recently I've been reading an American author called Jonathan Franzen. I don't know if you know him.
Uh-huh.
And that's probably on my top 5 list, anyways.
Nice. So what book are you reading right now? What's on your nightstand?
Right now I'm reading a book called The Passage by Justin Cronin. I think it's kind of a bestseller in America as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's American, and it has kind of a vampire theme. I'm not too far along in the book yet, so I don't really know, but it seems very thrilling.
Yeah, over here in the States right now, everybody's obsessed with vampires and zombies. So.
Yeah, I've noticed.
I'm sure you probably, the whole world saw about our zombie guy in Florida who ate the face off the other guy.
No, I've missed that.
Oh, you
What's
missed that? You'll have to Google that. Yeah, in Florida, this is 2 or 3 weeks ago. I guess there's a new drug out here. They're calling it bath salts, and I guess it makes them feel like they're burning up inside. So they take off all of their clothes, and this guy's like running around the streets naked in Florida, and I guess it was Miami, I think. And he found some homeless guy and literally just started eating the guy's face off, and the police had to shoot him multiple times. Yeah, so that's the big news in America right now. The zombie apocalypse is coming. I can't believe the whole world isn't in on this. So
I have to check that out for sure.
That'll be a song on the next Crucified Barbara album, the Zombie Apocalypse.
Yeah, that's a great title, actually. I might steal that one.
Absolutely. Now, guitars, you and Mia both, big Gibson people. She's got her V. I always see you with your Explorer, which has always long been one of my favorite guitars. What is it for you with the Explorer and just Gibson guitars in general?
Oh, well, for me, there's no other choice than Gibson. I've tried to play a Stratocaster, for instance, but it doesn't work. I can't even play it. So I'm sticking to my Gibson, and I really love the Explorer. I bought it in 2004, I think, and it's been my main guitar since.
Now, for you as a guitarist, are there one or two guitarists that have sort of always been influential on your playing style or that you really admire?
Oh, there are many. Actually, I did work for a big newspaper in Sweden. They had this hard rock and metal magazine that came out this summer, and I was hired to do my top 50 list of the greatest guitarists of all time, top 50.
Wow.
So
who was your top 5?
I can't remember exactly, but I was not basing it only on technique. Of course, it's more about like output feeling and my personal taste. And was Slash, of course, was there, and Tony Iommi, Jimmy Page, of course. I love Michael Schenker from UFO and the Michael Schenker Group.
Right, absolutely.
And I also put Chris Oliva from Sabotage, who was on the list.
Departed.
Yeah, that's true. And Brian May was on the list. Oh, I could go on forever.
Absolutely, all great guitarists, you know. It's funny you mentioned Slash because his new album just came out, and you listen to it and you think, boy, he must have been sitting on this stuff for a while, because this really sounds like classic Guns N' Roses, and you really catch the fact that the magic from that early Guns N' Roses may have had less to do with Axl and far more to do with Slash.
Yeah, I definitely think so. He's the big star of Guns N' Roses for sure.
So, what was your first guitar?
It was a really crappy Fender copy Strat, unplayable. But it was my first guitar, and I was really happy about it.
Nice. So, and I also understand that you're big into politics.
Who said that? Well, yeah, I'm interested in politics, definitely. I love a good discussion. It's impossible to compare American politics to Swedish politics. It's such different types of societies. And
what's it like over there?
I would say the biggest differences is our social security, and it's how to explain it easy, but we have a healthcare system that is for everyone, no matter if you have an insurance or not. I mean, it's not free, but it's you can get healthcare no matter on who you are or if you have money or not, and it's a little bit more secure, I would say, to live in Sweden compared, for instance, to America.
Absolutely. I may move if they re-elect Obama, I tell you what. I may be coming to Sweden.
Yeah.
So
but it's hard to like in a few sentences talk about politics. It's such a big and important subject, and it's hard to say something really smart, really quick about it, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Of course, they don't expect anybody that's in the music business or anything to have any intelligence on the subject, but they'd be surprised. So.
Yeah, no, but I think it's very interesting, and I think it's very important to always discuss what's going on in your country, but also globally, and try to be conscious about other people and unfairness, and you know what I mean. I think it's very, very important, and that you're not lazy, only thinking about yourself or whatever.
Right. So we were talking a little bit about guitars a minute ago, and I meant to ask you. You and me obviously both play guitars. Who handles the lead work in the band? Do you guys trade off, or does one of you handle most of it, or?
No, Mia, she's the solo goddess, the lead guitar goddess, for sure. Live, of course, when we do harmonies and stuff, I do it a little bit as well, but she's a great, technically skilled guitarist, and I'm more of the riff princess.
Works for me. So she's the shredder, you're the riff princess.
Yeah.
So now, if you guys got to come over here to America and you got to play your dream tour, who would you like to come over here and tour with?
Good question. We love touring. I mean, we could tour with anyone. We always have great times going on tour. It's really hard to think of someone. But it wouldn't hurt to support Metallica.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah. But there are so many great American rock bands.
It'd be wonderful to get you guys over here opening for Slash.
Yeah. And Slayer, of course. I would love to play with Slayer.
Yeah, it would be really nice if they pull some more European bands over here, because we do the Mayhem Festival, which Slayer is on, and it kicks off today.
Cool.
It would be nice that if they brought some more bands over from Europe, because they certainly bring a lot of American bands over to Europe for the festivals there. So who knows? Maybe next year you guys will be here on Mayhem Festival.
Yeah, let's hope so. How's it going with the Slayer now? They have the guitarist from Exodus, right?
Gary's been filling in occasionally for Jeff. I'm not sure. I think Jeff is doing the tour. I don't think Gary's filling in on Mayhem. I could be wrong.
It was Gary playing, and I heard from friends that he was outstanding, really, really great.
Yeah, Gary is a phenomenal guitarist, really great person too, but phenomenal guitar player, and they certainly couldn't have tapped a better person to fill in for Jeff. But I'm thinking Jeff's actually back for the Mayhem tour, but how can you not love seeing those guys? Great guitar work, and of course Dave Lombardo behind the drum kit is just phenomenal.
Awesome drummer.
But yeah, so before we get out of here, Tell us something about you that might surprise people.
Well, when I'm not playing in Crucified Barbara, I work as a nurse taking care of the elderly. I work the night shift taking care of old people.
Wow.
Probably most people don't know that.
Absolutely not. It seems like these days almost everybody's got to have a day job, if you will. So you guys have been together as a unit for a long time, which is very different than most bands, especially American bands. They change parts like that, as almost as if they're not people. It's just like they're removable parts. So it's very refreshing to see a band stay together as long as you guys have.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I couldn't imagine this band without any of the other girls. I mean, it's the four of us. It's the way it's supposed to be, and it's the way it's gonna stay.
Klara Force of Crucified Barbara, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you.
We look forward to getting you over here in the States as soon as we possibly can. The new album, The Midnight Chase, comes out at the end of July. Everybody get out there and buy it and crank it on the radio. Any last words to the fans?
I hope to see you soon over in your beautiful country. We've been longing to go to America since we started this band. So I really hope it's going to happen soon.
We do too. Great new album. Look forward to seeing you, and definitely everybody get out there and crank it up, and you can listen to it right here on Metalholic Radio. Take care, Klara.
Bye-bye.